to have the hook. That 3 second hook ni kira macam people like, share macam gitu lah.
Yalah, you get people to talk, you get
People to like you lah kan, share.
like you lah.
Ah.
Like your content.
Uh.
Okay, phones all on silent
Ni tengok
Because we've been recording for the past few minutes actually.
Okay.
So no problem. We will cut.
Oh, we've been recording already
Nanti dekat.
Nak caption lagi, nak buat bloopers lagi.
Oh.
Kelakar lagi, buat
Yalah,
lawak
yalah,
lagi.
yalah.
Okay.
Okay.
Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Assalamualaikum folks and welcome to the next episode of this podcast here with Modern Muslim Finance and Ashraf. Today we have Abang Shafi. Woo!
Yay!
Right. Okay, so this is a series about giving. So we're talking about giving money at weddings. We've talked about budgeting for traveling. Today, we're going to talk a little bit more on something a bit more sensitive. Okay, we're going to talk about, when we visit people who are sick, who are unwell, especially in our Muslim culture or Malay culture as well, when we visit people, we want to give a little bit of money. And this topic was brought to you and thought of by Ashraf, Alhamdulillah. And we decided to invite our esteemed Abang Shafi.
Thank you, Fik.
Abang
Thank you,
Shafi.
Fik.
As you can tell, Abang Shafi is still very, very young, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. Young at heart, at least.
Young at heart, yes. Lots of experience in this particular space. And so we want to invite Abang Shafi in to have a chat and give us his 2 cents as well. And so I'm going to throw it to Ashraf, where he's going to take the lead. Alhamdulillah.
Thank you so much, Afiq, for that wonderful introduction. And this is technically our 3rd episode, right? It's our 3rd episode and it's a 2nd episode on the series of giving, right? Last week we already talked about we have our guest Halim, and we talked about wedding. Today he's not able to make it. It's because that he has his fiancé birthday, Aju. Okay. Yeah. right. Let's put these things
you,
aside.
Halim.
Love you, Halim. Yeah. Let's put these things aside. So for today's topic, we're gonna focus much more on giving, but instead of wedding, in this time round, we're gonna talk about how much actually to give to a sick person, or in other words, when you go for visiting, whether it's to the hospital or is it at home. Yeah. So take it away, Cik Shafi.
Well, thank you, Ashraf, and thank you, Afiq, for inviting me over for this podcast for today. Whoa. Miss Halim, because he's supposed to be here, but he didn't make it.
Kan, Halim.
But I wish to meet you for a long while, Halim. But anyway, I heard you had some important things to attend to. So back to the topic of giving, Ashraf. Our culture, I mean, as in any other cultures also, we always make it is a way of life, or rather something that we want to do at this factory is to give someone who is in need. Whatever the need is lah. But specifically in this case, when you talk about people who are sick and how much to give, well, it actually depends on your ability to give, right? How much you are able to give. Because if you want to talk about value of the gift, it really depends on how you value that gift. Okay, certain people value the gift differently. But of course, in terms of economic situation like now, and you look at when somebody is sick, and you look at the cost of getting to see a doctor, right? So it is always increasing, So we have to move in with the times, I suppose. Well, last time we used to as a very what do you call the base, we gave it about $10 normally when we see someone who is elderly, or we just out of goodwill we'll just give. But I guess now you have to factor in again the cost of living, Sharaf. Yeah. So it can be, hopefully, if you have more, you can give more lah. All right. So $10 for a start for someone who is junior, maybe can, but I would think that now the situation you need to give more than that lah. Yeah, definitely.
Alright.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think so as to summarize as what Cik Shafi say, it all depends on you have to factor in all these economic costs and certain things like inflation, all this. Okay, but I have a question, right? So when it comes to the degree of a person who is sick, right? Does it matter whether the person is just really is sick at home? I mean, he's sick, but he's actually still at home. So in terms of he doesn't really need to seek treatment from hospital, but the person is just sick. and you know that the person can technically recover in a few more days. Yeah. So now, does that degree of sickness will affect the has directly relation to the impact of how much a person will give?
Okay.
Okay. That part, I want to say something first before you go too deep. So let's talk about this for a bit, because in our culture, the Malay
Yes.
culture, when you visit somebody, whether they're sick, whether they're old, we give, right? Kita bawa buah tangan, we
Yes.
bring fruit, we bring food, we bring
Yes.
something. Kan.
Betul.
And my parents raised me, you know, we visit older folks. Dia sakit kita, give something.
Yes.
Right? Give something. And the question of whether we recover in a few days ke, or whether dia betul-betul sakit teruk ke, I think culturally speaking, kita nak kena examine this part a bit. Kita bagi, we give. Right? Malay culture is all about giving. Such a giving culture. That's why I love being Malay. Walaupun I'm Malay celup. Kena celup-celup. But think about it. Am I making sense, Jess?
Right, fake. I mean, I'm agreed, fake, because naturally giving is part and parcel of the Malay culture and sebagai orang Islam. Okay, because Nabi SAW galakkan kita supaya bila kita berziarah, kita bawa sesuatu. I am talking Malay now.
Boleh. Soalan Afiq faham je ke tak?
Okay. No, audience can understand. No, Afiq faham lah.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, but of course, Ashraf pun faham juga.
Yes,
Coming back from a Malay culture, what do you call that? Pure Malay culture. Inshallah, because giving is always a nice thing to do, yeah, because and it's already entranced in our religion. Nabi anjurkan whenever we visit someone, not only just giving hadiah, but this hadiah can also be in forms of monetary, right? Now, how much you want to give? Again, it depends on how much you are able to give. Don't give something that you are you know.
Sakit, it hurts.
Then you are suffered. You are suffering, behind the scene. Or I mean, honestly, it has to be from the heart.
Yes.
Whatever you want to give, whether you give it $10 or $20 or $50, or buy that person. Give a gift of hadiah, I mean fruits ataupun something to make him happy. The idea is just to make someone feels happy, because remember what the Prophet says: visit someone, because the pahala you're getting from visiting someone who is sick is banyak.
Immense.
I mean, we do not know, but it is big. It is inshallah, and is barakah. Yeah, and also you entertain the person who you visited. So this is part of the culture why you need to not only give money, but also give yourself the time to visit, right? So whether again, did I distract from the thought?
No, because the question was, when Ashraf was saying, what if the person's gonna recover in a few days? So means
okay.
sakit tapi tak teruk sangat. Right.
okay.
That's where the culture comes in, kan?
Yes.
You visit people,
Yes.
dia sakit teruk ke, dia sakit, not so bad ke, flu fever ke, but the point is you visit, kan, like what you're saying. Right, especially older relatives, that you give your time, so not just the money, it's the attention, it is the what do you call that?
Presence.
The presence, the
Presence.
care and concern that you give.
yes. It
So
goes a
then,
long way. It
kalau
goes a
orang
long
tu
way.
tak sakit sangat, macam mana Ashraf? What do you think?
Okay, so I think the whole discussion on the last few minutes is basically that I think the important thing is like, yes, the gift cannot just be formed in terms of monetary, but it's more of your time you technically sacrifice, or time that you given yourself. It's actually to be in the presence of a person who is sick.
Yes.
I mean, last but not least, I would say that let's face it. Okay, I think if let's say you haven't met that someone, and that someone is maybe, inshallah, I mean, not say inshallah, but maybe hidup tak lama. We never know, right? I think the best circumstance is actually to be there in the present lah, rather than focusing on how much to give, or rather
Right.
buying a hamper back, buying a hamper. So I think the whole point is that make yourself available, and make yourself available at the same time, be there, present.
Because Ashraf, the important thing I think is when a people is sick, they want company. They want someone to listen to them. They want to tell their issues, what they have. They just want a listening ear. I think this is the most important thing besides, of course, the monetary value, lah, Fik, yeah? Of course, if you can help in any way, goes a long way.
Every little bit helps, kan?
Yes, definitely, you will help. But I think first and foremost, you must be clear in your mind that when you visit someone, you want to give a gift of a time to the other person who is sick, because naturally when people is sick, then he will know the value of health. So when you are healthy, give that value of time to someone who is not so healthy. And of course, he will really appreciate the time spent, or he or she. And besides meeting up with old friends. So here the value of money, in my opinion, Ashraf, do play a part. But again, your presence and your time taken to visit goes a long
Goes
way.
a long way.
Yes? Perfect.
Betul kan tadi kita berbual before we were shooting, we were discussing. Okay lah, kalau macam tu aku bagi RM2 lah, bagi $2. I give $2. Macam $2 how? I give you my time, but I also give you $2 cukup lah. What do you think?
Oh, okay. This is difficult. Maybe I haven't experienced that part. Right. I mean, so far, of course, I mean, when I brought up, it's always to the point that Malay say it lah. When you visit someone, whether is it housewarming or whether is it people sick, jangan datang tangan kosong. So,
Great.
yeah, even though tadi I datang tangan kosong, but then I already told Lafiq lah, I dah keluarkan the donut, but lupa nak bawa.
So the story is we're shooting at my place. So the story is dia kata dia nak bawa donut, dia keluarkan daripada ice box, dia lupa nak bawa. Tak apalah, alhamdulillah.
But then again,
Ada niat lah, ada niat.
Dapat pahala.
but then again, the whole point is to have a podcast at rumah dia and discuss about this topic. Okay, back to you.
Okay, I think Afiq do raise a good point, right? I mean, since I'm gonna be there, so money is not a value. I mean, not so much of a value. I'm giving my time, because my time is worth a lot of value. Fig. Yeah, what is $2, right? So, but then again, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching, we have to be practical, I think. I mean, hey, hi there, hi.
Kucing.
Kucing.
If you all been watching this long enough, you know I have a cat.
And he likes me. He or she likes me. Alhamdulillah.
Okay. See a bit of side note.
Okay, so coming back to the issue of the money value, right? I think $2. Okay lah. Kalau kita nak cakap $2, what is $2 nowadays? How much can you get with $2?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. Is that what you want to give that person, an ice cream? Fik? Sharaf?
I think, okay, so, I mean, if let's say, if the amount is technically very little, I mean, might as well you buy something as like a food, really, like a food, right? Like food. And the thing, okay, let's say it's an ice cream, right? I think the action of feeding the ice cream to the sick person brings about much more of an impact rather than just slot in $2.
The gesture lah, right?
The gesture, right? It's
gesture.
all about the gesture, yeah.
Okay.
What do you think?
My opinion is very simple. Kau bagi RM2, game salam. Okay? You give, yes, but RM2 can be offensive. To be frank with you. I mean, we talked about cost of living, we talked about lifestyle, inflation, gerbu. So I think my personal opinion is, of course, affordability is one thing.
Yes, sure.
Right? If a person really cannot give $2 pun, right? $2 really hurts. Then visit. Give your time, give your effort, give your attention, show your care and concern.
Yes.
Tak bagi duit pun okay,
It's
because
okay,
you
right.
cannot afford.
Yes.
But for somebody who's thinking, oh, tak apa, aku bagi RM2 je, I only give $2, then I disappear really quickly. No lah, come on lah. Have some class, have some standards. You
Some
know?
sense of where things are going lah.
I'm not saying don't give, but like you said, $10 is okay lah, good enough pergi makan, keluar kan, pergi cafe nearby, okay, not those expensive cafe lah. Right, $20 is also about okay. So I mean, if you're middle class income earner, you know, think about it this way lah. How much is that dollar value actually gonna be? Kalau $2, like I mentioned, I pergi ice cream dengan my 2 children. Beli satu ice cream je
Share
because one ice cream cone kat McDonald's sekarang $1.20. Not $1, dulu $1. Dulu I can buy 2. Kan?
Yes.
So think about it in this way. Kalau I give $20, $20 sometimes is just barely enough kita 4 orang makan.
Yes,
Right?
true.
Kita pergi kedai mamak, prata, drinks, gerbak-gerbu, $20 lah.
Betul.
Right? For 4 people. So I think the question then becomes, how much do you feel good in giving? Kalau kita bagi tapi kita hati sakit, nak kena bagi, sakit aku bagi, aku bagi dia this amount of money, you keep thinking about it, might as well don't give.
Better to give.
Might as well
Right,
don't give.
right.
You know,
True.
give something that is more valuable, your time, your attention. You know, like for example, I think somebody came to my house for a gathering. Dia masak.
Oh, yeah, it's
Dia
good.
buat bread pudding. Dia buat bread
Alhamdulillah.
pudding, sedap.
Call me next time.
InsyaAllah InsyaAllah dia bawa bread pudding sedap. So that's the thing kan, whether or not dia sakit ke,
Yes.
whether dia dah berumur, you just want to visit,
Yes.
the key is like exactly what you said, Syafi. Give them the attention, give them the care, the kindness, you know, give them that concern, and I think that goes more than any amount of money you give.
True.
Of course
true.
money helps.
Of course.
Of course, money will still help. So give what you can, but from a modern perspective, janganlah bagi RM2.
Betul.
You know,
betul.
target
I mean,
$5
Fik,
ke.
we want to talk about Ashraf. I mean, put yourself in that position. If you're not so well, and if you can survive with maybe $2, then you ask yourself that question: are you comfortable in accepting $2 from someone? Just just as a token. Put yourself in that position, and then you feel differently. I suppose you can have a gauge of how much you want to give when you put yourself at the receiving point. Yeah, Fik?
Right.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Ashraf, what do you think?
What was the question again?
Okay, the question was, remember, you give your time,
Okay.
you visit.
Okay.
Host pula. Boleh, Fik? I stand in for you. Co-host.
Carry on.
Okay, just to reinstate back, Ashraf, what was mentioned. Okay, we visit someone who is not well, maybe at home, or maybe at a hospital, or wherever lah. We went to visit him, but we know that person is sick. But instead of we giving him more money, we give him more of our time, and because our time is worth more than what we are giving. And the giving in this case is just $2. So do you think $2 is a good way of is a good amount to give?
Okay. All right. So I mean, Cik Shafi mentioned the gift does not necessarily equates to the monetary aspect of it. Well, Afiq says that, in fact, if you give $2, it's much more of a disrespect, or more of like, hey, come on lah, $2. Please lah, $2. Hey, I also have $2 in my pocket. I mean, but I think for this part, I would say it differs from a person who visits, right? I mean, let's take for a fact. Some person who visits is an adult. He's an adult who visits. Maybe they have kids, maybe they have sons, who is maybe, let's say, secondary school, teenager. I think if, let's say, the teenager or the kid wants to give $2 to the person, I mean, why not, right?
For a kid, $2 is a lot, kan?
Yeah. For like Afi said, kid $2. Oh, it's actually quite a lot. Duit raya. Duit raya. This $2 come from my duit raya last year. Or last raya. Yeah. So in this case, I would say giving $2, or rather the amount itself, right? Also, you must look from who the person is.
Agreed.
Who the person is,
Yes,
right?
yes.
It can be a person who's not working, or rather a person who's jobless, who got fired, or even a teenager, right? Who's still getting allowance from the parents.
Or intern.
Oh.
Dapat, I spoke to an intern. The intern dapat $400 or $500 a month.
Wow, that's
Pengsan.
Yep.
A lot sekarang.
I mean,
Sekarang a lot Sekarang a lot That time I intern I got $500. This was 20 years ago.
Oh yeah.
Today the intern only getting about 500 plus. So I said, tak ada inflation.
Yep. So back to the topic. I mean, bottom line, I think what we want to portray or give the message that we still want to encompass the spirit of giving, right? The spirit of giving. Whether is it monetary, whether is it through your time, through your presence there, or even I know that some certain things, like let's say for a person who visits, right? I think they have a lot of family members who dah penat taking care of the sick person, right? I think the most appreciative or the most best thing you can do is to actually bring the person or the family members who already have been taken care at the hospital, bring them out for maybe a lunch or dinner. Leave the sick person alone. Maybe the sick person just wants his own time, right? Mantu nak berzikir, nak solat ke apa. Yeah. So at least I would say bring the family members yang
The
sekeliling,
caregivers
the
lah, the
caregivers.
caregivers.
Melayu cakap apa, di sekeliling, di samping orang ramai tu. Yeah. Bring them out. At least maybe in this case, yeah, to a sick person, but it's also the next person you want to look at is actually the caregiver itself.
And who are often forgotten.
Yes.
Right. Who are often forgotten. We see the sick people. For example, kita pergi hospital. Just go to a hospital, you see the patient. People, oh, kesian, the patient sakit, kesian, the sakit teruk, kesian. Habis the nurse who are all around there every day on shift, 8-12 hours a day, diorang macam nak rush, and they don't take care of one person, they take care of multiple. Kan? So we tend to also forget and overlook, you know, the caregivers themselves. Also want to give appreciation to them lah, because
Of course.
one day we are going to be the caregivers as well.
Maybe the caregivers, it's the family members lah.
Correct,
Fik?
yeah.
I mean, they are the one that deserve attention too, besides the one who is sick, right? Because the family members not paid for for the service, unlike the nurses. Fik. But despite the fact they are still giving good services out there lah. Yeah. So again, the topic of the money value, I think it is subjective, but in Malay we say berpada-pada lah. Look at the situation, and Ashraf mentioned just now also, if it's coming from a young kid
Teenager,
who is sincerely think that $2 means a lot to him, well, that shows some kind of spirit of giving from who's young. Kecil-kecil dah nak
Kecil-kecil dah
kasih.
kasih,
Alhamdulillah. And jangan orang tua ikut $2 juga, Fik. Itu tak boleh lah.
Standard dah lain. Okay, standard dah lain. If you're middle class here in Singapore, you're earning reasonably good income. Most of us should be lah. Between 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, quite okay. You know how much is $10?
Yes,
I mean, you think about it. You express it as a percentage of your income. If you earn 3,000 a month, 1% is berapa? $30 dah. So if I give $10, it's 0.3%. Kan? So how hard is it for us to make it back? And so ultimately, my thought on this is the gesture. It's the gesture, it's the thought, the intention behind it, and of course, Islam. It's all about intention. And on talking about all this, also, what we do is as financial advisors, we teach people how to manage money. Right, how to manage money, especially from the 5 I's of Islamic finance, where the first I is income. If we talk about income, we have a framework called wealth, WEALTH, that helps you, segment your money, put your money aside into investments, into your expenses, into your luxury account, your happy account. And I think for me personally, when I give this money to orang sakit, I give money to orang tua, it comes from my love account. WEALTH, the love account. So, that's 5% from my monthly income I put aside. And then, I use that money bagi orang, kalau nak bagi sedekah ke, derma ke, you know what I mean? So, having that idea at the back of my head that I've already put aside some money, memang duit ni is to give away for love to other people. Okay, love to other people. Whether I want to use it to bagi kat masjid, today hari Jumaat nak bagi, ada spare, bagilah. Atau, visit orang, nak bagilah. Then, when I want to give, hati tak sakit. Because the niat memang duit ni, this money is to give away. Kan? So if you want to know a little bit more about the WEALTH, follow our series. Let us know in the comments below what are your thoughts, what are your questions. Abang Shafi, any last thoughts for today to our viewers, our listeners?
Okay. Thank you, Fik, and Ashraf, for inviting me over. And I think, I guess when we talk about the amount to give, in perspective, that's what Afiq has mentioned. You have to set aside an amount of money that you sincerely want to give away. All right, and we at Financial Alliance, we make it a point to show, or rather to share, not show, to share with our viewers, our listeners, what is the good amount to set aside, so that when we give away, inshallah, we give it dengan ikhlas. Important thing is you have to give it with ikhlas. Then only now we dapat tenang dalam hati, dan inshallah whatever barakah, we leave it to God. Inshallah, Allah yang menentukan. And you can never imagine the amount of gift that Allah can give you if you do it sincerely, inshallah. Okay, that's from me. Thank
Alhamdulillah,
you.
sincerity ikhlas, tengok niat, must be sincere. Ashraf, what about you? Last thoughts before we wrap up this episode.
Right. So basically, thank you again, Sheikh Shafi, for joining us
Most welcome,
for this
Ashraf.
podcast. I think with all your valuable experience, with all your your wisdom on all this part, right? I think it brings us about quite a new perspective on what is to give, what is actually giving literally means. Okay. Yeah, and of course, setulus ikhlas, you have to do it in sincerity. And inshallah, I think the person receiving, inshallah they will also be more grateful and
Yes.
bersyukur. I mean, there's a one saying that goes, orang yang memberi
Lebih baik.
lebih baik daripada orang yang
menerima.
menerima. Yeah.
I read it as the upper hand is better than the lower hand.
Yeah.
The giving hand is better than the receiving end. And on that note, folks, if you are on the receiving end, ni I nak kena kata sebelum kita end. Kalau you dapat, bersyukur, alhamdulillah. They say don't look a gift horse in the mouth kan.
Yep.
So orang dah bagi, jangan macam gini je. So be gracious. Exactly what Ashraf said. Be gracious when you're on the receiving end. Say alhamdulillah. I remember a story told from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Remember the one where no matter what gift he received, he would say alhamdulillah. He received dapat dia buka. I remember that story from madrasah 30 years ago lah. The story, just to share with you all, is if I got it wrong, please correct me. Every time Nabi got a gift, he would say alhamdulillah. And so there was this guy who was just nak test Nabi and he was like dia bagi Nabi buka alhamdulillah, ada benda baik. Dan satu hari aku nak test ni Nabi dia taruh tai dalam najis dalam kotak, dia bagi Nabi. Nabi dah alhamdulillah, Nabi buka emas kat dalam. Is gold.
See?
And then the guy say, macam mana ada emas? Where did he give gold? Aku test lagi. Dia bagi alhamdulillah, dia buka lagi emas lagi. So folks, when we are given gifts, be gracious. Okay, be gracious. And don't forget, one of the biggest gifts that we've been given, life and health. Inshallah. So folks, this is Afiq from Modern Muslim Finance, from Financial Alliance Islamic Welfare Advisory. This is Abang Shafi, also from Faiwa.
Hello. Assalamualaikum.
Hello, kita nak habis you hello. Nak habis hello.
Oh, we are starting again, no?
And that is, apa nama lu?
My name is Ashraf, same from Firewa also.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. See you the next one.
Waalaikumsalam.
Best kan?
Kucing pun nak masuk, Fik.